a shelter in the time of storm, secure whatever ill betide. My God's a shelter in the time of storm. Yes, and everybody knows my Jesus, He's my rock in a weary land, way out in my weary land. Oh yes, in my weary land. My Jesus, He's my rock in a weary land. My God's a shelter in the time of storm. Oh rock divine, oh my refuge dear, my God's a shelter in the time of and He'll be thou our helper ever near. My God's a shelter in the time of storm. Oh, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. Said in my weary land. Yes, in my weary land. Oh, Jesus is a rock in a weary land. You know my shelter in the time of a storm. Oh, Jesus is my rock in my weary land. I said in my weary land. I said in my weary land. You know my Jesus is my rock in my weary land. You know He's my shepherd in the time of a storm. The name of God Almighty, the God of mercy, of grace, of truth, and of love. We've come again this morning to thank Him for Jesus and the gospel. We thank Him for the Holy Spirit and the church of Christ. What a great God we serve. He's more than awesome. He's better than good. He's the best. He keeps us even in times of storm. He said in His word He will never leave us nor forsake us. What a great God we serve. It has never been about us. It has always been about Him. He moves, therefore we live and have our very being. Without Him, we could do nothing. If you're visiting with us this morning, thank you for coming our way and sharing this worship experience with us. We want to say again to Sister Matthews in the loss of her son, we are praying for you continuously. Of course, it's good to see Brother Ward. Brother Johnson, it's good to see you. And sometimes I just overlook things. And I guess it's because of my eyesight. And so sometimes we fail to recognize our people in our services. But hey, we're praying for you. We love you. There may be others that I'm overlooking now. But you know, I heard some good news while I was in Arkansas. Brother Holloway, I heard about you being baptized into Christ. Give you a shout out.
Brother Griffin, I heard about you, man. Give you a shout out. Yeah, you all need to know that the church is here for you, praying that you will remain on this battlefield for the Lord. Now, the rest of you all is just good to see you. Oh, yeah, Sister Jackson made it back. I know she left. When are you going to get to the sermon? When I get to the sermon. As a matter of fact, they sung most of my time anyway. So I'll just stand up here and greet everybody. Sister Gober, did you leave? And made it back. God bless you too. If I keep this up, I'm serious, I'm going to run out of time. Everybody else, just excuse me, okay? But we are thankful that you are here. And God is still adding to his number. Brother Smith, I haven't seen you and Sister Smith since you've been back, huh? Good to see you. I'm talking about the people coming back, but I look out there and I see Brother Chalkaw, somebody left. But we're praying. I want to go again to 1 Timothy chapter 3. And I hope this is not boring to you. But I need you to know it's needful. Many people complain, but when men are selected for the leadership positions of the church, they complain even more. I maintain that you as a Christian need to know every one of these qualifications and what they mean, because it is important to God, to this church. The Bible said this is a true saying. If a man desires the office of a bishop, he desires a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous. So I want to talk about the leadership in the local church, elders, part 7. Brother asked me before we went to the office this morning, behold, I want to know, is it still the same? I said, brother, it's still the same. And then I told him I had at least 22 or 23 qualifications that I have to cover. It's in God's book. And we need to know God's will. God has always been concerned about leadership. He plays leadership in the home with Adam. He plays leadership in the government. Even when he dealt under what we call a theocracy. When God's word ruled both the nation, the government. In other words, there was no difference between the church and the state. One word governed everybody. And then God put leadership in the local church of Christ. For we know that Jesus is the leader. Make no mistake about it. Go to Matthew chapter 23 and verse number 8. Because we need to understand that there is no equal when it comes down to leadership and Jesus. Jesus is our ultimate leader. The Bible says in Matthew 23 and verse number 8, but be not ye called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. This term master in this text, and even within this context, is not used anywhere else in the Holy Scripture. The Greek word for master here is kathegetes. It simply means a guide, a master teacher, the leader, if you please. It is a compound word, kata, which means down. denotes intensity, uttermost, throughout, or according to. The other part of the word is hageomai. And this word hageomai simply means to lead, to go before, to be a leader, to rule, command, and to have authority. This is important because even though we have teachers and leaders in the local church, but Jesus is the leader. He's the teacher. He's the master guide, if you please. Well, I want you to look at the second part of this compound word, hageomai, as it relates to men in the local church. Turn over to Hebrews chapter 13 and verse number 17. Because the Hebrew writer uses the second part of this compound word as he deals with leaders in the local church. Are you in Hebrews 13 and verse 17? The Bible says, obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourself, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy, not with grief, that is unprofitable for you. Notice here, these terms have rule over you. It's the same word, hageomai, and this word is dealing with leadership in the local church. Men that are being selected to rule over the church down here on earth. But you have to understand that Christ is the ruler up in heaven. What has Christ done then? Christ has delegated authority to men in the local church. But only Christ is the leader. And I have to keep saying this because sometimes we think that we take over. But there will never be a hostage takeover in the church of Christ. Jesus will always be the leader. We become under rowers. We become under shepherds. We become under ministers. We are under Jesus. Make no mistake about it, and don't ever get it confused. Everybody needs to know, is Jesus or is Jesus? I said, is Jesus or is Jesus? Nobody else can run the church. Jesus runs the church. When men step out of bounds, Jesus is still in control. And that is why we need to deal with the qualifications of leaders in the church of Christ. Leaders must be men of honesty, fairness, and integrity. Matthew describes Jesus in Matthew 12 and verse number 20. And I want you to go over there and look at it, because I want to give every man in here the opportunity to see the kind of spirit that our leader has. I said I need to give every man in here the opportunity to see the kind of spirit our leader has. Are you there? A bruised reed shall he not break, and a smoking flax shall he not quench, till he send forth judgment unto victory. Have you all ever read that before? It's mighty quiet in here. But I need you to understand, a bruised reed shall he not break. Well, a reed is simply a staff, a rod, or a stick, a stem, if you please. Smoking flax, I want you to know flax is a piece of cloth. Are you paying attention? What are you saying, Matthew? Matthew is saying Jesus will not break a stem or a stick, nor would he tear a piece of fine linen. In other words, linen cloth. As a leader, Matthew is saying Jesus has an humble disposition, a humility that said he will not crush or shatter the weak, and he will not extinguish those who have little hope until they have proven themselves to be unworthy of his love by their disobedience to his gospel. You need to understand this. I know some of us may not have looked at this text, but we need to talk about it. Jesus is so humble that when he looks at your broken life, he doesn't crush you. Jesus is so humble when he looks at the brokenness in your life, he doesn't add to your misery. Jesus is so good to us. Like a fine piece of cloth, he will not cut us. And somebody ought to hear this. Honey, even if you were burning, Jesus was get down in the fire with you. That's the kind of master we have. Well, we need leaders like this. We need leaders when men are broken, when women are broken, when children are broken, we won't crush them. We need leaders. Even in the hostile situations in your life, we need leaders that will come to your side, aid you, help you. That's the kind of master we have in Jesus. So why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because when it comes down to a mighty good leader, Jesus is the best. So out of this, Paul deals with qualifications concerning future leaders or elders in 1 Timothy 3 and verse 3. Now, if I dealt with not given to wine, I'm not touching that today. I want to talk about some other qualities. So Paul said that a man who desires to be a bishop or a leader or an elder is no striker. Did you all catch it? This term striker comes from a Greek word plaktes, which simply means a bruiser, a pernicious, contentious, quarrelsome person. So when you talk about no striker, the word no, that's simply negative. It's the A in the Greek, which is negative here. Strong's Concordance says that the word means a smiter. That is pernicious, quarrelsome. If Jesus was meek and humble, no bruiser nor striker, then what should our leaders be? If Jesus wouldn't bruise us, why would leaders bruise us? If Jesus would protect us, why won't our leaders protect us? And I know sometimes we feel like we ought to do our own thing, but honey, let me tell you something. When I walked in this building this morning, there were two Korean men sitting in the back, and I walked through and they wanted to see me. And I took them into my office this morning, and they were telling me about some program they're having in New York City, talking about inviting me to New York City. Now, what in the world am I doing in New York City? Well, the bottom line was simply this. They gave me some information. And as I perused and looked over the information, I knew it was not the kind of information that the Church of Christ ought to be involved in. And so they responded to me. Said, well, we understand that you all are going to start a Bible class at 9 o'clock. Is it all right if we present this information to your people? I say, no, it's not all right. Now, you can look up in here all you want to and say, well, you don't have the authority to tell these people what they shouldn't do. We got too many weak folk in the Church of Christ. They may hear some of that stuff and leave us and go with them. Oh, I don't believe that, honey. You have another thought coming. The devil is out to get all of us. So tomorrow, I'll present this information to the elders and let them have any copy they want to. And I'll guarantee you, when they finish reading it, they'll agree with me. Because anytime you have one man that had exalted himself as the man over an entire religious organization, he's put himself in the place of Jesus, and I can't follow that. Y'all feel pretty good now? Elders must not be given to blows. That's what he means by no striker. He should not be a fist fighter. That'll protect me a little bit, huh? He should not be violent or ready to wound another. When a man is ungoverned in his temper, he's very explosive, ready to resent, to insult, and to do harm to others. So Timothy and Titus were both told, look out for such a man who is a striker. Check out Diotrephes in 3 John, verse number 9. You all heard of him? Well, I need you to listen to what the Bible says about him. 3 John in verse number 9. Don't ask me what chapter. Just find 3 John. You find 3 John, you'll have verse 9. John said, I wrote unto the church. Do you see it? But Diotrephes, who loveth to have the preeminence among them, receiveth us not. Wherefore, if I come, I will remember his deeds which he doeth, prating against us with malicious words. And not content therewith, neither doeth he himself receive the brethren, and forbiddeth them that would, and casteth them out of the church. This is a bad brother. Matter of fact, too bad. Anytime a man has a Diotrephes spirit, be careful. What are you saying to us, Paul? I'm simply saying that the man you select as a bishop or an elder or a pastor should not be a striker. Church, this striker is a bad man with a bad attitude. So we have to be careful. So I raise the question again. Why do you want to be a leader in the Figueroa Church of Christ? Is it because you want to indoctrinate the people of God? Do you want to teach God's people how to be what God wants them to be? Are you willing to spend your time in developing people, doing the work of the church? Why is it that we want to lead? We need to answer the question. The Bible gives us the reasons. In Ephesians 4, verse number 12, for the perfecting of the saint, for the work of the ministry, and for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come into the unity of the faith. And I need you to understand, if you're not wanting to lead for the reasons God gave, we may have a problem. And then secondly, Paul uses the terms, not greedy or filthy lucre. Iskro-Kodash. Iskro-Kodash is the word. Now, many people will think that Paul is repeating himself later when he uses the word covetous. But the words covetous and not given to greedy, to filthy lucre have slightly different meanings, as we shall see. The bishop, the elder, must not be a lover of money. Why? Because many decisions that he makes for the church will involve money matters. Are y'all listening? I remember a gentleman called me up down in a town called Bessemer, Alabama. Now, if I said Bo Jackson, you all may can identify, because a lot of sports people in this church. Bo knows. Well, Bo is from Bessemer. That's about the best thing they say you can get out of Bessemer. But I think the best thing in Bessemer is the 24th Street Church of Christ. And so the preacher called me up. He said, Brother Holt, we want you to come down and preach this gospel meeting for us from Sunday to Friday. I said, good deal, preacher. A few weeks later, he called me back. He said, Brother Preacher, we want to have this meeting from Sunday to Thursday. A few weeks later, he called me back. said, preacher, we want to have this meeting from Sunday to Wednesday. Well, by that time, you know I'm slow. So I get a little curious. I say, brother preacher, just tell me, man, what's going on? Do I need to come at all? He said, oh, yes, sir, you need to come. He said, man, our treasurer, instead of taking our money to the bank, oh, he took it to the bank, but his bank, over $40,000. What did he do? I'll tell you, give you a nice word, embezzled. What did he do? Now in Mississippi, he took it. Are you listening? But this is the catcher. He said, brother Holt, I was training him for the eldership. Just about ready to make him an elder. I'm telling you, these qualifications make a difference when you get serious about God's work. Not greedy or filthy lucre. He must not be fond of money, grasping for money. He must not be guilty of money grabbing. The elder must not place excessive value upon material things. You remember Matthew chapter 16 and verse number 26? Sure you do. Jesus said, for what is to a man's profit if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Don't allow men to be selected when you know they are lovers of money and material things. Don't send me a note saying, well, you know, Brother Ho, they are just prosperous. God not dealing with that. That brother down in Alabama was prosperous with the Lord's money. I tell you what all of us can do. All of us can have more stuff if we give God less money. Maybe that's why some of us have so much stuff. I better let you all alone. I mean, I'm just getting back. I heard the brother when he said it's good to have a preacher back. Many of you didn't even nod your head. So no sense in me digging this hole any deeper. But then Paul says something else. The man that is being considered for the eldership is to be patient. You all remember that? Now this word patient, I know it seems to be a simple word. Epi-a-case. Now watch, epi-a-case. Just watch this. This word does not mean to wait as we would think. It doesn't mean to put up with, nor does it mean to tolerate or to be enduring. That's not this word. What does it mean? Just wait. Did you catch it? Just what? Go to James chapter 1 and verse 3. Let me show you. See, the word we're used to is in James chapter 1 and verse number 3, and I'll give it to you. I want you to watch this. Are you in James chapter 1 and verse 3? Knowing this, that the what? Trying of your faith worketh patience. Now that's the word we're familiar with. This word patience here, hupomeno. Now hupomeno simply says to endure. I want you to catch me. This word means appropriate by implication. I'm talking about the first word. I want you to catch me. Epi-a-case. The first word I use in 1 Timothy 3 and 3. This word means appropriate by implication. It means mild, gentle or moderation. So when Paul says that an elder must be patient, he's not telling us he must learn how to endure. That'll take care of itself. Paul is saying he must be gentle, mild. Didn't he just finish telling us he shouldn't be a striker? Later on he's going to tell us he shouldn't be a brawler. Why is Paul using all of these words? Because Paul wants people to be able to come to their elder, and when they get there, they'll be treated with such respect that the men themselves are gentle. The elder should not be a controversialist. Y'all catch it? But he must stand firm on the word of God. He must be kind and polite to the flock. You need to be careful as installing new elders, especially those who are quarrelsome in nature. Well, I'm glad you know what I'm talking about. Then you need to ask the question, how will the new elders fit with the existing elders? Now, did you catch it? You see, some churches look for men with the opposite nature of those already serving in the eldership in order to provoke change, because they are not satisfied with the existing elders. Now, you all know I've never been afraid to say what I want to say. I'm not going to start this morning. No, I'm not. Any men that won't be elder because they don't like the ones that are already there need to ask themselves a question: am I doing this for the proper reason? God gave these qualifications for a reason, and we need to understand that. I've seen people, if I can get in that eldership, I shake it up. Well, that's all right, long as you're shaking according to the scripture with the right spirit. Because I believe I'll shake it up. Anybody can shake it up. But what can you offer in terms of leading God's people, perfecting the saints, the work of the ministry, and the edifying of the body? Can you bring some of that into it while you shaking them up? Oh, Lord Jesus. Then Paul said that a man desiring the office of a bishop must not be a brawler. You all catch that? I want you to watch this as I run down this word. The Greek word for brawler here, amakakos. Amakakos, and the word a there is negative in front of it. Not a brawler. The word makos means peaceable. Now you got to catch me. Which is from a word maka, which means a battle, controversy, fighting, to strive or striving. So now this word maka comes from a word makomine, which means to war, to quarrel, to dispute, or to strive. It is the same word that Paul uses in 2 Timothy 2 and verse 24. Let's look at it. I'll be finished in a little bit, I promise you. And the servant of the Lord must not strive. You got it? But be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. And I think that all of us need to understand that we want some mild-mannered, Clark Kent men. But when trouble comes in the church, we want Superman. Are y'all listening? There's a time to stand. And there's a time to be gentle. There's a time and a season and a purpose for everything. An elder needs to know when to be gentle and when to stand firm. Allow no wolves to take over the flock. They have to know when to live like a lamb and when to stand like a lion. Because in Revelation 5 and verse 5, I want you to come over there. I want you to see your leader. Revelation chapter 5 and verse number 5, I want you to see your leader. And then I'll get the last qualification and I'll take my seat. Are you in Revelation verse number 5? And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loose of the 7 seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as it had been slain. Are you all paying attention? When John first looked, he saw a lion. Isn't that right? Jesus is a conqueror. He conquered sin, death, and the grave. He's a powerful leader. But then John looked again, and John saw a lamb. Somebody ought to hear me. This Jesus is as humble as a lamb. You know, John saw him coming in John 1:29. The next day, John sees Jesus coming unto him and said, behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sins of the world. Jesus knew he had a lamb-like spirit, but he also knew when he had to stand for truth. He had a lion-like spirit. When I look at Jesus, I see him heavenly and I see him earthly. But when I look at Jesus, I see a man, but more than a man. I see the God-man. I see him as he protects his church. I see him as he dresses his wife. I see him as he takes care of her. I see him against false teachers. I see him against people that don't want the truth. But then I see him with people that want the truth. I see Jesus as a lion. He's ferocious. You know, in John 2, he went into the temple, made some small cords, and ran the folk out the temple. A lot of folk would say Jesus sinned. The Bible says in Ephesians 4, verse number 26, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. Jesus knows when to be a lion, and he knows when to be a lamb. And elders, you got to know when you ought to have a lion-like spirit, and you ought to know when you ought to have a lamb-like spirit. I'm not going to force the issue, be it as it may. The last qualification that I want to talk about is not covetous. Are you all listening? I want to talk about not covetous. Now, we've already talked about not greedy or filthy lucre. Well, now Paul says not covetous again. The letter A is negative, not covetous. Now, when we deal with it, this word is a philagurios. A philagurios. Now, this word A is negative, but philagurios, it means fond of silver money. Shining silver. The metal in the article or coins. Who in here remembers in Matthew 10 and 9 when Jesus said, provide neither gold nor silver nor brass for your purses? Well, silver was a shining metal. And I don't think they had paper money back then, so don't get caught up with these big-head Benjamins. They had coins. Now watch this. I think we need to look at this this carefully, because if a man desires the office of a bishop, but he is covetous, most likely you would have a problem with him and the money. First of all, why would you select a man who is not giving to God himself as God prospered him? Yeah, ain't gonna get. If he is covetous, he will not give right. I raise a question: does he gamble? Some men would have their houses paid for if they didn't gamble. I know some in the church who had to remortgage their home due to gambling. And some I know lost them. Somebody might ask, well, might say, gambling is not wrong. I don't see that as a sin. Where is that in the Bible? I tell you what you do. You go ask that woman married to that man who lost their home due to gambling and see what she'll tell you. See, we're asking the wrong folks. Somebody said, well, preacher, I don't see all of that. I know you don't, because that's what you like. A lot of stuff we can't see because we like it. Well, come to Colossians 3, 5, and 6. I was going to tell you a joke, but I don't think you can handle it right through here. Too serious right here, man. I tell you this joke. But I'll give it to you later sometime. Are you in Colossians? Chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. And you all know I love to have fun, don't you? You know Adam and Eve had a foreclosure on their home. I thought I can get away with it. I can't. I got to tell a joke. You know they had a foreclosure on their home for gambling. They gambled with their souls. And they lost. Yeah, they tell me one day Adam had his boys, you know, they were just walking and strolling. And man, one of the boys ran over and peeped through a garden. You got to remember now, the flaming sword was at the east side of the garden. It wasn't all around the garden, at the east side, so they couldn't get in. But they tell me one of the boys looked in there and ran back to Daddy and said, Daddy, what is that beautiful place? He said, oh boy, that was our home before your mama ate us out of it. Well, Daddy, didn't you eat too? I love your mama so much. I just followed her. Are you in Colossians 3 and verse 5? Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth. That word mortify means to put to death, to kill. Fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness. Now watch this. Which is idolatry. Now what is covetousness? Idolatry. For they which do which things sake for the wrath of God cometh upon the children of disobedience. Didn't even sound like I read that right. For which things sake the wrath of God cometh on the children of disobedience. When you start talking about covetousness, you make money your God. And when money becomes your God, that's idolatry. Help me. You see this word covetousness? Plex oni ex. Now watch this. Fraudulent, extortion, greediness, covetous practices. It's from a root word meaning holding, desiring more. next honey taste, eager for gain, avaricious, hence fraudulent, or a defrauder. This is what gambling is. This is what the gambler does. He desires more and he's eager for gain. The gamblers will put up what they have in order to covet that which belongs to another. Don't allow money to become your God. Why can't we give God as God has prospered us and trust God to multiply? Why we gotta go play the numbers? You have a better chance of keeping your money in your pocket and taking it and giving it to the church and asking God to multiply. How can we make over $100,000 a year as a household and give God less than $11,000 and $12,000 a year? How can we do that? Somebody say, that's easy for me. How can you do it? I remember preaching in Michigan. I started preaching on a series and giving, and one of the elders jumped up and ran to the back to look up my offering. And when he got back there, he was surprised because it was well over 10%. Then he came back and set his little self down. If you're going to lead people, show them the way. How do you make that much money and give God $5,000, $10,000 a year? Getting quiet in here. But you want to lead the church. Jesus gave it all. He said in Matthew 8 and verse number 20, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nets, but I, the Son of Man, has nowhere to lay his head. Men who aspire to be leaders, let me tell you something. Start giving as God prosper you. You remember Luke chapter 12 and verse number 15? Jesus said, take heed and beware of covetousness. For man's life consists not of the abundance of the things which he possesses. And you know I'm finished with that? If you can't see that, don't worry about it, honey. You with Ray. Yeah, Ray Charles. You blind. You can't see what I've just shown you. Don't worry about it. God may have a pass with your name already on it. If you can't see it, maybe you don't want to see it. But I want to talk to some people that want to see it. I want to talk to some people that really say, you know what, I want the best for myself and I want the best for others. Because God gave his best for me. And I know in dealing with all of these qualifications, we have a long ways to go, but at least we ought to be able to teach them without people being resentful and, you know, all swollen up and bristling up and upset. Man, this is the Bible. We ought to be able to accept whatever's in the book. Now, if you're not a Christian, listen, you need to be a Christian. If you haven't been baptized, you need to do just what Brother Holloway and Brother Griffin did this past week. You need to come on in and give your life to Jesus. You don't know how long you have, and I'm not trying to frighten you about there is but one step between me and death. I'm not trying to frighten you. It's appointed unto men once to die, and after this, the judgment. I'm not trying to frighten you. What is your life? It is there's a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away. I'm not trying to frighten you. I just need you to understand that if you love God like you say you love God, you will do whatever God put in the Bible. People tell me all the time, but I love Jesus. But Jesus said in John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandment. What do you mean by that? Acts 10 and verse number 48. And he commanded them to be baptized. Now, if you love me, Jesus says what? Well, what did Peter command them to do? Well, if you love the Lord, you'll be baptized, because that's a commandment of the Lord. He that believeth and he is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. And there isn't but one church. But one. And if you end up in a denomination, you did not receive the proper teaching nor the proper baptism. And I know we're getting away from this, but I'm not. Because I still believe if you're going to be baptized properly, you must be taught properly. I still believe that. I haven't changed one bit, and I don't plan to change. We got too many people talking about transformation. Honey, you can't have transformation without good information. You need information before you can get the transformation from God. The good information that God gives is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if you heard that word, yes, he lived, he died, he was buried, he arose again the third day. He's sitting at the right hand of God, and one day he's coming back. These are facts of the gospel. But then he has some commands that you must obey. Believe the gospel, repent of your sin, confess Jesus Christ, and then be baptized. When you believe the facts, obey the commands, now you can start receiving the promises. Gift of the Holy Ghost, promise. Remission of sin, promise. Joy, promise. Are y'all catching me? See, God has a lot of promises, but we won't get the promises if we don't obey the commands. I know it looks like some of us around here are not happy, but you don't have to be one of them. Where's that joy? Don't worry about it. Just get you some. And you'll be happy and glad you did. Are you willing to come now? I've said enough. I'm finished. Are you willing to come? Song leader, it's our time to invite somebody to come to Jesus. You don't even have to give me your hand. Just give God your heart. Let him have your life. He knows what to do with it. Haven't you gone long enough doing it your own way? Why not give him a chance?
Thank you, Lord.
Somebody ought to thank him right now.
Thank you, Lord. And we just want to thank you, my Lord.
I just want to say,
and I just want to thank
somebody,
you, Lord.
Hasn't he been so good to you?
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, oh my Lord.
Somebody ought to say thank you. Thank you, Lord.
Yes, Lord. And we
somebody ought to say, Lord, help me. I need you, Lord.
We thank you, Lord.
I need you now.
Oh, and I just want to
Lord, I just want to give you my life.
Lord.
Look at Abraham. You changed him.